Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. What's up, everybody? Good morning and a very happy Monday to you all. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Appreciate you tuning in, however you're tuning in, wherever you're tuning in. If it's on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your Alexa devices. Download the app, take it on the go, and video stream up and rolling here this morning on YouTube. What do we have on our game plan to begin a brand new week here? We'll talk some baseball with the Brew Crew picking up another series win, taking 2 out of 3 against the Nationals. Back to Friday night, they picked up a 6-1 victory. Then on Saturday was a 4-1 victory. They did fall in yesterday's game 3-2, making a little bit of a run there in that ninth inning, but ultimately falling just a bit short. Logan Henderson did get the start yesterday, gets charged with the loss, but again, Logan Henderson, I would say quality start for him, going 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 8 Ks. Just no offensive help for him. But Brewers back at it with, can we call it a big series? I think it's a big series, big early series going up against the Cardinals. So they'll begin a 3-game series with the Cardinals. Actually, we've got a couple of NL Central Division series beginning today that could either help flip-flop or shuffle up this division, this tight division, or maybe increase some leads because you've got the Cubs and the Reds also going at it, and then, of course, the Brewers and the Cardinals. So Chad Patrick's going to get the start tonight for the Crew. We'll talk, we'll recap this past weekend's series win against the Nationals. A little bit of a scare there with Jacob Misiorowski over the weekend, but sounds like, knock on wood, he's going to be okay. Had to leave for the game after he was dealing a no-hitter, but sounds like it was just a cramp in his hamstring, so hopefully that's the case. I know he's going to go through kind of a normal routine bullpen thing today, so we'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, he should be back on track for his next start. But also, this is a big week, too, here for the Brewers because Andrew Vaughn's on track to rejoin the team here today. Jackson Chourio suffering a little bit of a scare, taking a foul ball off his foot when he was playing for Nashville. X-rays were negative, which is good. So hopefully that means that he will make his return this week here too. And is it possible we could see the debut of one Cooper Pratt? Because he was a late scratch to the Nashville Sounds lineup yesterday. No official word on potentially what that means. I know Bryce Terang was ill yesterday. He was a late scratch to that too, but could we see maybe the debut of Cooper Pratt this week, this series, starting tonight? We'll keep posted if something does pop up here this morning. So, but plenty of baseball talk coming your way here this morning as we recap the weekend and look ahead to a big series with the Cardinals. So, also on the docket here this morning, we're actually going to hear for the first time, believe it or not, I don't know if a lot of people kind of realize this, but believe it or not, today, we're going to hear from Jonathan Gannon for the first time since being hired as the new defensive coordinator for the Packers. I don't know why they haven't had him answer questions, introduced to the media and such, but this is going to be the first time that we are going to hear from Jonathan Gannon. And maybe you've been kind of following online, and now it was for the longest time kind of been a little bit of a joke, a little bit of a thing, but we are finally going to hear from the guy today. So after rookie minicamp this past weekend, we're going to play a little game like we do sometimes. What you asking? What are you going to ask? If you were a part of the media scrum that covers the green and gold, and you get one question to the new defensive coordinator for the green and gold, what would you ask? What would you ask Jonathan Gannon? Maybe you're thinking about asking something like defensive philosophies, certain players, that sort of thing. What would you ask? This is your chance to ask to throw a question out to new Packers defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon in his first press conference as a Packers defense coordinator. Also going to hear from Cam Acord, the new special teams coordinator too. So, but we'll have a little fun with this and such. Not really a whole lot from rookie minicamp or tryouts. Chase Claypool did try out. He was part of the tryout group for the Packers this past weekend, but Packers didn't sign, at least as of now, did not sign any of the tryout players in that. So we'll maybe get something later in that, but as of right now, no go. So, but maybe we'll throw a little more football chat in there. It is a Monday morning, so that also means it's a VFW Post 305, best and worst from the weekend. So what is the best and what is the worst from the weekend? You can make your picks by hitting me up with a quick message on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or you can join in on the chat, the Section 105 group on our YouTube video stream. We'll do a little Glory Days brought to you by Summer Jam coming up a little bit later on. And also we've got a local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. And we've got conference tournament time for softball and baseball. Shout out to the Blue Gold baseball team, clinching a spot in the WIAC conference tournament for the first time since 1995. They are the 3 seed, so they're going to be taking on, let me double check it. Was it lacrosse, I believe? Was it lacrosse? I think so, yeah, because Blue Gold softball is getting the 4 seed, and they are going to be taking on Stevens Point. So, but we'll go through all that and more with our local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. So that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. Let's get things rolling, shall we? We'll open it up talking some baseball, recapping this past weekend from the Brewers, and maybe a week of some much-needed returns. Andrew Vaugn, hopefully Jackson Chourio, hopefully nothing popped up with that foul ball off his foot, and maybe a debut of Cooper Pratt. One downfall, though, or one bad news item is it sounds like Zerpa is probably going to be done for the year. Pat Murphy the other day did say that Zerpa is contemplating whether to have Tommy John surgery or not. So that is one disappointing nuggets from the past couple days here for the Brewers. So, but let's dive into it. We'll take our first break, and then we'll get things going here this morning on the leadoff. Talk a little Brewers baseball coming up after these quick words. Spring is the time to get back outside and to enjoy the season. And whether you're heading to the range or maybe getting ready for spring turkey hunting and that, so or just gearing up for some time in the great outdoors, Tilden Gun is your local stop for selection, service, and expertise. They offer a wide range of firearms and accessories, along with a knowledgeable staff who can help you find exactly what fits your needs. No pressure, just straight answers and real guidance. It's about making sure that you're comfortable, confident, and ready for your next outing. Spring is a season to get prepared, to get organized, and to get outside, and Tilden Gun is here to help you do just that. So stop on in and see what they've got in stock and why so many in the Chippewa Valley trust them year after year. Tilden Gun, your hometown source for gear, service, and expertise. And if you've had any luck this past weekend, whether it was for turkey hunting or maybe with the opener of the fishing season, send us a message on our Sports Talk Facebook page, Sports Talk 105.1 Facebook page, and we'll post it up there for a little brag board. All right, so send those on over, again, on the Sports Talk 105.1 Facebook page. All right, let's get the leadoff going here this morning. Let's talk a little baseball to open up things, shall we? So taking a look back at this past weekend here, Brewers picking up another series win going up against the Nationals. So acting a little bit of revenge after the Nationals swept the Brewers in Milwaukee. But going back to, well, let's go back to Friday night's game where the crew picked up a 6-1 victory. Jacob Misiorowski picking up his second win of the season. And the Miz kid was cruising. 8 Ks, did have 2 walks, no hits as he was pitching in the 6th. But a little bit of concern right away. After a pitch, he kind of motioned to the dugout, and he was taken out of the game. Ended up being a cramp in the hamstring. Now, all signs point to he's fine, he's good. Today's going to be a big day with a normal routine. If he gets through it fine and all that, then sounds like he'll be ready to go for his next scheduled start. But cross your fingers, knock on wood, cross your T's, dot your I's, whatever you got to do to make sure that he's going to be okay. But, man, he was dealing on Friday nights. Dude looked awesome. Lowering that ERA, too, to a 2.84. So far on the season, Jacob Misiorowski, 2-2 with a 2.84 ERA. And when you look at across Major League Baseball and just strikeout numbers, he is still number 1. 59 total strikeouts in 7 games. Dylan Cease, 56, and Gavin Williams, 53. All 7 games played for those. And technically, too, Misiorowski's got a little bit, he's beaten Dylan Cease in the amount of innings pitched, like not as many innings. It's 38 compared to 38 and a third. But one thing on here, too, is that Misiorowski has given up 23 hits, where Dylan Cease has given up 33. And Misiorowski has given up a few lesser walks. And his opponent's batting average for Jacob Misiorowski, just 172. Yeah, that's 6th best in Major League Baseball. Jacob Misiorowski is. So let me throw this out there to you. All right, and I want your input, because part of it is my kid proclaiming this past weekend. Can we say right now, at this point in time, that Jacob Misiorowski, not just for the Brewers, but from an overall sense, okay, is he an ace? When you think of an ace starting pitcher, when you think of that number 1 starting pitcher, is he that guy? Now, I don't necessarily want to say, well, for the Brewers he is, because we've kind of had that before, right? Maybe recently with like a Freddie Peralta. Remember, for a long time, I was like, yeah, Freddie Peralta is an ace for the Brewers, but is he really an ace across, Major League Baseball? I want to know, would you consider Misiorowski, from a Major League Baseball standpoint, all across the league, that he right now is an ace? Or is it still a little too early? Like, we know Paul Skeens is an ace across Major League Baseball. We know, throw another Chris Sale or whoever you want to throw into there. When you think of Tariq Skubal, we know they're aces. They're legit aces. Is Miz at that point? Or is it still too early? I mean, they're solid numbers, 2-2, 2.84 ERA, leads the league. Or I should say leads the majors in strikeouts. That opponent's batting average, just 172. Where is he at in terms? I'm just kind of curious with walks here. What did we say for Jacob Misiorowski? He had how many walks? So Miz has given up 15 walks, and really that's kind of comparing it to the rest. I mean, that's fewer than Freddie Peralta, but just 1 and such. So all right, I was just kind of curious to see. It's on the second page of all the stats. So Logan Webb has given up the same amount on there too. But hit me up. What are you ready to label him an ace at this point? So they picked up that win offensively. Brewers giving them some early run supports and in the first and such, but 12 total hits for the Brewers. 12 total hits for the Brewers in Friday night's game. Then move to Saturday. Brewers picking up a 4-1 victory. Harrison picking up kind of where Mizorowski left off a little bit. 6 innings, did give up 7 hits, but just 1 earned run, struck out 5, 1 walk. He is now 3-1 on the season with a 2.12 ERA. Kyle Harrison. Offensively, Brewers giving him some early run support with those 3 runs in the first inning. Lockridge with that big hit in the first inning, 2 RBIs to get the Brewers going there, and pretty much that was all the Brewers needed. They did add a little insurance run in the 8th, but it was that first inning giving Kyle Harrison that early lead, and then Harrison just kind of locking in. And another fantastic performance from Kyle Harrison. Jeez. You think the Red Sox are just, kicking themselves? Like, what did we do? Why did we trade this guy? I mean, all Harrison has done, you look at his back-to-back games. He has now won 2 games in a row. He's gone 6 innings in each of those games. Back on the 26th against Pittsburgh, he struck out 12, gave up only 1 hit. I mean, Kyle Harrison, man, 3-1 with that 2.12 ERA. 29, just a little under 30 innings pitched, 35 Ks too. Dude has I thought he was going to be, when Brandon and I did our early season predictions and, the pitcher that was going to surprise or the player that's going to surprise or whatever it was. I was high on Harrison, but I might even think that he's surpassed so far what I thought we were going to see from Harrison. I mean, that guy is just amazing so far. And then yesterday's ball game, the game that the Brewers did drop in this series, 3-2. Terang was scratched from the lineup due to an illness, but Logan Henderson getting the start for the Crew. And, he gets charged with a loss. But it was a quality start, going 6 innings, 3 hits, just 2 earned runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Man, they've got to figure out a way to keep Logan Henderson, I think, in that starting rotation somewhere. I don't know where it would be. When Brandon Woodruff does come back and such, I think, we'll maybe get to this here in a little bit, but is Brandon Sproat still kind of maybe that you're eyeballing, maybe that guy and such? But, man, Logan Henderson looked good yesterday, too. Brewers tried to make it close in the 9th inning. They were chipping away at it. Tying run was on, but not able to get that run in. So Brewers going 2-3 overall from this past weekend. And when you look at from the National League Central side of things, it is still insanely tight. Cubs, pains me to say this, but they're playing some good baseball. They've won 5 in a row. They swept the Diamondbacks. They're in first place. You've got the Cardinals, who are 2 games back, along with the Reds, who are 2 games back. So you got that Chicago and Reds series, which is going to be a big one. And then the Brewers and Cardinals. Brewers are 3.5 back. Pittsburgh is 3.5 back as well. Brewers do hold a very slight lead over the Pirates in terms of the standings. Based off of win percentage, Brewers are at 545. Pirates are at 543. So we got a couple of big NL Central series beginning this week. So, but going back to the pitchers for the Brewers and such, here's a little nugget. If you're kind of listening or maybe watching the game yesterday, you probably saw this. But Brewers have used 5 starting pitchers so far this year that are 25 years or younger. Logan Henderson, Crow, Harrison, Mizorowski, Sproat. The most in Major League Baseball. And they've combined for a little over 120 innings. 6 quality starts, 3.59 ERA. for pitchers who are 25 and younger, those are some solid numbers. If I'm a young pitcher or I'm a pitcher maybe trying to, kind of resurrect my career or something like that, how do the Brewers not be the most attractive destination for you? What they do with pitching and these younger pitchers and work with these guys is truly amazing. It's whether it's just Chris Hook, I don't think a lot goes to Chris Hook, but it's Henderson, it's their pitching lab. I mean, this is one thing. You look at the Brewers, what do they do incredibly well? They've got like the magic touch on a lot of these pitchers. But man, think about the youth movement. That's why they're set up. They're set up for the next few years to be really, really good with their starting pitchers. All right, let's take a look at game one for tonight. Chad Patrick going to be on the mound for the Cardinals. Kind of an early, big early division matchup, division series with the Cardinals, a team that is above the Brewers in the division standings. Let's preview that game coming up after these really quick words. Today only, if you go do a little grocery shopping or just shopping at Hy-Vee, and you spend just $40, you are going to earn, get this, 25 cents off per gallon. Yeah, 25 cents off per gallon with every $40 purchase. So fuel your pantry and your tank, as they say on their Facebook page. I like that line. Jealous I didn't come up with that. But if make sure you've got those Hy-Vee fuel perks and such. But, man, that's a heck of a deal. Especially this time of year, maybe filling up those pantries or snacks for all the kiddos for their tournaments or even lunches and such. And then you can save a little money at the gas pump too with Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. It's always a good reminder to make sure you are following the Hy-Vee Facebook page for all their deals. They have 1-day sales, 3-day sales, weekly sales, events. Stay up to date by following the Hy-Vee Facebook page, Hy-Vee and Eau Claire Facebook page. Got a couple of texts from our regular surveyor, Sam. Good morning, DK. I hope you had a great weekend. Best and worst of the weekend. Our VFW Post 305, best and worst of the weekend. Best, going fishing with my daughter and catching our limit of rainbows. Worst, her throwing her line into a tree branch and me having to climb said tree to untangle it because, and I quote, "But the fish need to eat, and we don't want to waste food, Dad." You're right, kiddo. You are right. That is an thank you for sharing that survey. That's awesome. Man, I wish I would have been able to go fishing this weekend. Beautiful weather to do it, too. Oh, gosh. Man, I'm not going to be able to do it next weekend either, too, so I got to figure out when to get out there and wet some lines. Mark says two bests from the weekend. The Eau Claire Marathon were an awesome community event, and the weather could not have been better. Bingo. The Eau Claire American Legion baseball fundraiser, Brewer game, Kentucky Derby watch party at the VFW Post 305. Great fun and much needed fund raised for our local team. Awesome. Thank you to everybody who stopped over and helped support the American Legion baseball team. Worst of the weekend, it turned into Monday. You're right, man, because and on top of that, I'm out of coffee, and I could probably use another one. But, yeah, that's great to hear that the Legion baseball team fundraiser went well. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. So, but, speaking of the Eau Claire Marathon, too, something I kind of want to dabble into. It's not going to be like I'm not going to set a day, but let's just do like a Weekend Warrior shout-out. All right, and that could be youth sports and, amateur sports, that sort of thing. Not necessarily like high school or college and that, but, maybe the youth sports like K through 8 that don't get the attention that they probably, let's give the younger kiddos some attention and such. And then, for everybody who participate in the Eau Claire Marathon, amateur athletes, or maybe if you dominated in a weekend ball tournament or something like that. So I want to do kind of a Weekend Warrior shout-out once in a while. If you ever have a Weekend Warrior shout-out, could be during the week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever the case may be, send them on over and we'll give them shout-outs. All right, just kind of, again, focusing on maybe K through 8, kindergarten through 8th grade, And then, some of us who are maybe past our primes, well, not anybody who ran in the marathon is definitely not passing their prime, because that you're a better person than I am. You probably couldn't get me to do that. So, which, by the way, C-Bomb, did you do it? Did you do it one time? Do you still do it, or did you chicken out, or where are you at, man? Haven't heard him chime in about this. So, but all right, good stuff. Back to a little more baseball here. Brewers getting set to open up a series against the Cardinals starting tonight. Kind of an early big series with the Cardinals ahead of the Brewers in the standings right now. The Cardinals are at 20-14 on the season. Brewers sitting there at 18-15. Chad Patrick is on the mound here for the Crew. He's going to get to start his seventh appearance so far this year. He has started 4 of those, because remember, a couple of them, there was always an opener before him. But Chad Patrick is coming off of a win against the Diamondbacks back on the 28th, where he went 5 innings, giving up just 1 hit, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts. Did have some issues with those walks in that game. If you remember, he had 5 walks in that game. But overall, his numbers, just 2.57 ERA. So, catching a theme here with some of these starting pitchers for the Brewers. Sub-3 ERAs, Mizorowski, and I know it's still kind of fairly early in the season, but now Mizorowski's in the 2s, Kyle Harrison's in the 2s, Chad Patrick is in the 2s. So, I mean, these starting pitchers, they're getting the job done right now here for the Crew. There's no question about it. They're getting that job done so far. So, hopefully the offense can kind of help them out here a little bit more on it. I mean, they helped them out this past weekend. So there was a quote, by the way, with the offense from Pat Murphy that I let me bring it up here, because I thought it was such an awesome quote. This was it Saturday night? Yeah, from our friend Hunter Baumgart posted this. Pat Murphy after the game yesterday, referring to the teams at single driven rallies. While we have this power outage, we'll light candles. Love that mindset. I love that approach. While we have this power outage, we'll light candles. Oh, that's cool. I like that quote. But, back to the Brewers game here tonight. So you got Kyle Leahy going for the Cardinals. He's 3-3 in 6 games started so far this year. He's got a 5.52 ERA. He is coming off of a win back on the 28th against the Pirates, where he went 5 1/3, 9 hits, 3 earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. But that 5.52 ERA so far this season, and he has given up every game so far. Kyle's given up multiple runs. Going back to not opening day, but on March 30th, his first start, 4 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 2 earned runs, 3 earned runs, 4 earned runs, and then 3 earned runs. So, I mean, this is a pitcher who is susceptible to giving up some runs. Can the Brewers offense take advantage of that? Can they put up a crooked number early? Can they put the pressure on him early? Can they get her going? Ironically, so in the month of April, 4 of his 5 games were all on the road. His lone home game was actually one of his kind of better performances, too. Only went 4 innings. Actually got charged with the loss, but he only gave up 2 earned runs. And then the game prior to that at Detroit, he actually picked up a win and 2 earned runs. But after that, it's been 3 runs, 4 earned runs, 3 earned runs. So I guess he gave up 3 walks in that home game, too. So, all right, maybe scratch that one. Maybe scratch that thought there a little bit. But nonetheless, there is opportunities. I mean, he's given up an opponent's batting average, too, so far in the month of April, 306. So there's opportunities for this Brewers offense to put up some runs, to collect some hits. Can they take advantage of it? That's going to be the big question. Andrew Vaugn, if he's going to be in the lineup tonight. Or maybe not. Maybe they elect to go to another left-handed bat with Bowers, because Kyle is a righty. I think the biggest question, though, too, is are we going to see Jackson Chourio? whether it's this series or maybe the weekend series going up against the Yankees. Chourio over the weekend. Everybody crossing their fingers. He took a foul ball, hit a foul ball off his foot, stayed in the game for that at-bat, but did not go back out to play defense. X-rays reportedly were negative, so hopefully that doesn't delay Jackson Chourio getting back into this lineup. I think we're all kind of crossing fingers. It seems like we'll be okay. So, yeah, this was from Todd Rosiak. X-rays were negative on Jackson Chourio's foot, ankle. Need to see how he feels, progresses. This was from yesterday, before knowing whether he will be reinstated from the injured list in St. Louis. So, but one injury note that isn't the greatest for the Brewers, and that's Zerpa, Angel Zerpa. Pat Murphy, it sure sounds like he is going to have Tommy John surgery. I know Pat Murphy said that he's kind of going back and forth on it or still deciding and such, but that'll be a loss in the bullpen. I know if you look at his last couple starts, you may be thinking, oh, they weren't the greatest such, but it kind of maybe points to when he started to maybe have some arm issues and such. But this was the guy that was brought in from the Isaac Collins and Nick Mears trade. So, yeah, it is going to be a loss in terms of the depth from the bullpen. But if there's one thing that we know, too, about the Brewers, they've got depth not only from starting pitching, but they've got options when it comes to their bullpen. I don't know if that maybe could be an option whenever Quinn Priester does make it to the major league levels. Does he just go to the bullpen at that point? They got some flexibility, and they've got options. But it is definitely a downer that the Brewers won't have Zerpa. It sure sounds like they're not going to have Zerpa for the rest of the season here. So, but could the Brewers have another new face join them this week? And is that going to be Cooper Pratt? Interesting move made the other day surrounding Cooper Pratt. Let's talk about that. We got to take our final break, and we'll wrap up the first hour talking some more baseball, talking some more Brewers. Before that, though, let me know, too, kind of our informal poll question for today. Do you consider the Miz kid, Jacob Misiorowski, an ace? Not necessarily just he is for the Brewers, across Major League Baseball. Is he ace status, or is it still a little too early? We'll take our final break, and we'll be right back after these quick words. Sign up for the 6th Annual Casper Classic right now by heading to our website, WAYYradio.com, SportsTalk1051.com. Or you can go to 715store.com. Get your two-person team signed up for our August 7th tournaments going on at Lake Hallie Golf Course. We've got tee times up for 7:30, 10 a.m., which, wow, okay, we sold a few more 10 a.m. tee time slots on there. Big thanks for that. And we've got the 1 p.m. Tee time slots over there, too, for just $90. That includes your 9 holes. Your carts, some drink tickets, and a meal provided by our good friends from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire last year. That pulled pork, oh, that was awesome. Big thanks to Hy-Vee for joining up again. Park Ridge Distributing, Window World on there. We've got Superior Auto Body as well. Myron Construction, VFW Post 305. So big thanks to our partners for joining on again this year. So if you're interested in maybe partnering up, or you're interested in maybe donating a raffle prize, because all proceeds go to help support Backyard Dreams, reach out and we'll chat, shall we? So we're taking a next hour. I want to talk a little football. We get to hear from Jonathan Gannon for the first time as Packers defensive coordinator, believe it or not. So that running narrative and joke that if you follow on social media will finally be in the books. But if you could ask Gannon one question, what would it be? Surveyor, so I'm going to hold on to your answer here in a little bit. Mark says, I would say the Miz is an ace. Simply put, name a major league team that would not want him on the roster. Couple more, I don't have names on there, saying I would consider the Miz an ace, and another one says, I think it's still a little too early yet to consider Jacob Mizorowski a ace. So get your thoughts in. Send them on over. All right, I want to hear from you, whether it's on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line or on the Section 105 chat on YouTube. So could we possibly see Cooper Pratt this week? Yesterday, Nashville Sounds scratched him from the lineup. And last I had seen, I tried looking again, there was no updates or reason why Cooper Pratt was scratched from the lineup. But it does have people speculating, could we see Cooper Pratt on the Major League Ball Club this week, maybe even tonight? If you're going to call up Cooper Pratt, he's going to be a starter. It's as simple as that. You don't call him up, even with the contract, you don't call him up, and just have, as sitting on the bench right away. He's going to be in the starting lineup. And Scout the Stat Line. According to Scout the Stat Line Prospect Pulse, the top hitting prospects over the past week, and this is, in case you're not too familiar with it, I had to look it up too, but it provides data-driven baseball projections. And their number one hitter, top hitting prospects over the past week by Scout the Stat Line, Cooper Pratt. Cooper Pratt was number one. In fact, the Brewers are actually well represented on this. Number 3 is Luis Lara, and 6, Jet Williams. So, Brewers actually had three dudes in the top 6. So, for a team that's maybe looking for a little bit more offense, you could potentially look at that. But, nonetheless, could we see Cooper Pratt? Now, I was looking at this lineup here. So, Jet Williams was still in there. But, yeah, so the only one that was scratched was Cooper Pratt. Could we potentially see him this week? That would add a little bit of fireworks to this lineup and such. But, I mean, you look at the left field, or the left side of the infield. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that and be like, yeah, they need a little bit more. Now, I know Cooper Pratt's, I guess, weakness, if you will, has been his offense. And that's why they, one of the things when they announced him signing that long-term deal is that maybe he settles in and doesn't have to worry about it and then kind of relaxes, and that's where he can improve in that area. And as of now, he has improved. But you look at this between Joey Ortiz, Luis Rengifo, and Hamilton. Hamilton's hitting 247, by far the best. In fact, he's even got 12 walks on this thing. But you probably don't want him as a starter. Luis is hitting just 186. Still looking for his first home run. OPS of a 520. Joey Ortiz, an OPS of a 440, 181. And at least Hamilton's 623 OPS with that 243 average. He's only slugging 272 in there. But at least with him, one, you get a little position versatility. He could play second. He could play short. He could play third. But when he gets on the base pass, at least he's going to be a threat to steal. He's already got 7 stolen bases this year, tied for the team lead with Bryce Terang. So of those 3, if it were me, I think Hamilton is the guy. If we could just kind of keep it simple, because I think if you do call up Cooper Pratt, one of those 3 is probably gone or sent down or whatever. I think the guy that you for sure maybe keep is right now David Hamilton. At least he's doing a little something. I mean, heck, he's your guy that he's bunting just to get on base at the bottom of the order. But we'll see. Maybe today we'll find out something. All right. Shot clock's going to cut me off, so keep coming with your picks. Do you consider Jacob Misiorowski an ace? Like 1 year into his career at this point. Is he an ace, or is it still a little too early? Slight lead.